What is up, you guys? This is D22 with you today, or Domingo from the main channel, and I am going to be answering some questions about how to use Paint 3D, but then also I'm going to be responding to some comments. So if you haven't seen the Paint 3D tutorial video, you can check that out in the description below, or in the cards, or at the very end of this video. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to answer the comments and just go through step by step each comment that will be answered. So I have the comments on my smartphone and I'm going to read them over. So there are going to be some comments here that will be very specific, but at the same time it's going to be just a live Q&A. One of the comments that I got was, how do you copy an object and paste the copy next to it? Let's say we're going to insert an object. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our menu, and then we're going to go insert. And then we're gonna, let's use an example. We are going to insert an object. That's what they wanted. So let's insert a cylinder shape. So it'll load the cylinder shape, and then we got it, and then resize it, and then we can like curve it however we want. Copy an object and paste the copy next to it. So it's pretty simple. So what you do is you go to the select tool, you right click on the object, and it will give you the option to edit, and then copy, or you can do Control-C. Naturally, you click the object, press Control-C, and then unclick the object and press Control-V. And then it copies the object right beside it, like that. So that is essentially how you copy an object and paste the copy next to it. You unhighlight the previous object after you copied it, and then you paste it, and then you move the object to the side or wherever you want it. So that way you can have the copies together. So that is how you do that. So thank you for that comment, Holly O'Connor. And then also the next comment that I got is from Cartoon Madness, and they ask, where can I find the texture of the 3D model I painted on? Usually is here. This is the colors, and then you can select a different texture. So it's selected on dull metal, and then you can go and select it as a matte. So that way it'll be set up as a matte. You can go from there. So you can just highlight your object and then go into the paint easel and then select the color, and then you can select the texture. So we can make it a gloss, we can make it a dull metal, and then we can make it a polished metal. So those are the four textures that you use. So for now we're just going to use a matte. So that is how you find the textures. And then the other comments were just pretty self-explanatory, where I nailed the drinking game for each so and Paint 3D wasted. Okay, and then at 240 I nailed that Michael Scott impression. That's what she said. There are a lot of comments that I got, and then one comment said, very bad presentation, I lost my time watching that mess. Well, Mr. Fahmy, or Mohammed Fahmy, whatever your name is, if you were to have watched the video in its entirety and also gone to the time codes in the description, then you would not have lost your place. So I am very sorry about that. There's another comment that says, very helpful, but I would have liked to have seen if you insert text on an item, and how do I do that? Well, Don Sullivan, we're going to show you how to insert text. So what you do is you click text on the top, and then what you do is you click around, and then there's your text box. So that's where your text is, and then you press enter or click outside the text. Then we insert our text. So let's say a giant T, and then before you click out anywhere, you would have to place it, like before you even click outside the box, you type in your text, and then you have to drag your text around, and that's how you place it. And then you can also resize the blocks, or resize the text box here, and then you can also change the font size as well. So you go here, and then you set the font size to whatever size that you want, and if you're not sure, there's the font, and then there's the text size, there's the color of the font. Let's say we're going to choose yellow, and then you drag your text, and then you go back into the settings, and then you can set it to left align, center align, which we did here, and then also right align, and then you can also set background fill. But if you don't want background fill, you can uncheck the box, and then before you click outside the box, that is what you do. And then when you click outside the box, you cannot edit the text after that. You can't select it, as you can see. So if you undo that, you press Control Z, and then you can redo it as well. So you go to the undo button up here to undo it, or redo, or previous history. So then you can go back a ways down and see what has been done. So we can also record that. So we're going to undo the text. So that is how you insert text on an item. And then there was another question: how can I share my work or even make my own cards banner with this? Not giving me this option. So let's say you want to, let's make it 100% just for starters. Okay, so press enter for that. So there's 100%, and then there is take a screenshot, reset view, and view controls. So the actual question that I got from Ice Mac is, how can I share my work or even make my own cards banner with this? Not giving me this option. Well, you actually can make your own banners with this. What you have to do is you have to set the size of your canvas. So let's go into your canvas size. So let's say that's your canvas size. But if you want to set it up for a different size, then you would have to go into the three dots here. Or actually, let's go to menu, and then you would go to new. And then we don't save that. And then usually what we do is we click up here, and then look at the three dots. So when you click the three dots, it doesn't show the text underneath the commands. So when you click the three dots, it does show the text under the commands. So what you would do is you would normally go into menu, and then there would be usually a settings or properties menu. So let's say what we do is we are going to go to settings, and then usually there's compact view, welcome screen, and that sort of thing. So we're going to go back, and then what you normally do, let's say you have all of your work done here, and then let's just use this for example. We're going to fill, we're just going to fill this up. We're going to use a color, and then go from there. So let's say that's let's just add some 2D shapes to start. So for example, let's just add here some 2D shapes. So let's just add a 2D shape just for kicks and giggles. So we're going to put in some 3D shapes. And then after that, we're done. So let's say that you want to save your work. What you do is you go to menu, and then you go to save as, or save. And then what you would normally do is you would go export file actually. So what you would do is you would go, okay, so what you do is you would go to menu, export file, and then it gives you the file type. So this creates a new file without affecting your current project. So let's say you want to save it as a JPEG. So we're going to select 2D JPEG, and then usually it gives you the JPEG style. And then what you do after that is we're going to select it on camera roll. I'm just going to name it untitled for now, and then we're going to click save. So it saves that file, and then we're going to go into the folder, and then we're going to go into pictures, camera roll, and then you go into properties, and it should give you the location and the details. And the size is usually about 1796 by 968. So that's usually the size that we want. So, and then we'll just have a preview of that. And this previews it in a JPEG format. So this is the stuff that we just did in Paint 3D and saved it as a 2D JPEG format. So that is essentially how you make your own cards and banners. And normally it doesn't give you that option. So unfortunately, that is what it is, IceMac. And then there were also other ones here where it says, if you are unable to make a video to speak in general without saying so, like that, don't, okay? You are annoying. So what? I'm not making this video to be annoying. This is just how I talk. So why don't you just fly a kite? Lake of Red? Anyways. The next thing we have is I have a picture I've been working on, and I've wanted to make an image 3D using Doodle. it outlines the image in color, but I can't make the image transparent, so it looks like a 3D like inflated object. How do we do that? Well, it says here CNN rotating square sent that comment. So we're going to go into new, and then we're going to go to don't save, and we're going to find out. We're going to put in a 3D image, so let's get a 3D shape. And then we're going to add the shape like this. And what CNN rotating square is trying to say is that you can't make the image transparent. On the right side here, there might be some settings here that we can use. So we are going to go edit, and then there's also flip. Usually what we can try and do is we can try and make the image transparent. So let's add a color here, and then it should be matte. But by default, these 3D images are already transparent, so the background would need to be transparent beforehand. So let's say that we want to make this new project. Let's just go and say new, don't save. And then usually in the menu, there would be properties that we would have to set when we want to make a object transparent. And then we just go back. Let's see. Because this adjusts the size of the canvas. This adjusts the size of the canvas. This allows you to scroll to the left and to right, and then to scroll up and down. And then this zooms out. This program is not essentially a thumbnail maker. If you wanted to make thumbnails, then the original version of Paint is what you use to make thumbnails. This is more of a 2D, 3D sketch platform software. Unfortunately, it doesn't do the standard things like regular Paint does. And then you would adjust your canvas size like this. And then usually if there's an option to right click, there would be. Unfortunately, there's not. And then they have what's called Magic Select here, where you can't really select anything. So we're going to just click out of that. Unfortunately, when you put the shapes in, it won't save that. So let's just put in a 3D dog. There's our dog. Hot dog. What's up, dog? There's our 3D doggy. Woo. It's a red. It's like Clifford the dog. Here, well, let's make it Clifford the dog for starters. So that's Clifford the dog. He's the big red dog. He's a huge, huge dog. So that's our dog, Clifford. And then we're going to drag Clifford right here. And then we're going to spin Clifford around so that we can see him clearly. As you can see, some parts of Clifford cut out. Like, we've made him a three-legged dog now, but it usually renders in full 3D. As you can see, it doesn't show everything in full 3D space unless we turn it like this. Unfortunately, we don't have the setting to set it to transparent. It doesn't give us that option unless you go into File, then Save As, or export file and save it as PNG. So if it's PNG, then it'll be transparent, as you can see. So let's go dog, and then we're going to click save, and then we're going to go into the folder that we saved it in. So pictures, camera roll, dog PNG. All right, well, unfortunately it doesn't have the transparent screen here, so it's just plain white, so we can't do that. And now that's the challenge. That's the challenge for most people. They want to make it transparent. It actually is something that we need to work on. So let's just take a look. It might be in effects. So let's just go here. Well, they give us the Minecraft filters. Okay, unfortunately, there is no option to make it transparent. Unfortunately, we can't do that. All right, so the next question is from a person named Jen Smith. Now, I know these comments have been made months and months ago. I haven't had time to answer this and respond to them right away, but I'm going to be doing that now, so this makes up for it. So the next question is from Jen Smith. How do you apply text over original text without moving the original background? Thanks for the wonderful video. It was easy to understand. I then answered, to remove the text over text in Paint, there would have to be a rasterized layer made so that you can paint over the text in the other photo. I think that can be done in Paint. It's also done in Photoshop. So what this person's trying to say is that you apply text over original text without removing the original background. So let's just put on some text for starters. So we're going to select this text, and we can select all the fonts that we have here. I'm going to go with my favorite, Road Rage. So I'm going to make it bigger. Yes, I'm saying so. So be it. So what? Let's just select Road Rage. And then we're going to make the font bigger. There we go. So there's our text. So before that, we would have to select the text. Okay, let's undo that. Undo. Before you set your text down, you have to make it and then position it where you want it. So Jen was saying, how do you apply text over the original text without removing the original background? That's the thing. We don't have an original background here. And what we're doing is we're making text over text. And we're going to select Road Rage, and then we're going to apply the color properties to this. So we're going to use black for this. So we're going to select our text, then we're going to select black. Which is not working for us for some odd reason. Okay, there we go. So to put text over text, that's what you do. You would just make two instances of the text, and then you would like space it wherever you want, so it gives that effect. I mean, that's just how I do it. But then you have to consider the placement of the text. And if it's over an original background, then you'd have to place other text where the original background is. And you ultimately can't erase it because it's already set to transparent by default. I hope that makes sense. And then it says from another YouTuber named Lisa, when you make a mistake like a third eye, how do you get rid of it? You just deleted everything. So to undo it, let's say you made a mistake and made a third eye, you just press undo, undo. And then that's how you do it. And then there are other comments like, so does this have a stabilizer for the drawing? Unfortunately, there's no stabilizers, Chloe Smith. Then there is also other options. How can I add a custom font? I downloaded the font I want to use, but it won't populate in Paint's 3D list of available fonts. It's now available in Word, but I can't get it in Paint 3D. Any suggestions? I'm trying to use a digital font. This was by Greg Sewell, or Sewell. I'm hopefully saying that name right. But your custom fonts do appear. You have to install the custom fonts first, and then when you close and open your program, your fonts will appear. So Road Rage is the font that I installed, and I've installed 20 other fonts, and they appear already on my screen. And if that doesn't work, then try restarting your computer so that way your fonts will appear. And that basically was the answer to the question. He restarted the program and the font was there. So that is how you do it. And a lot of other comments were like, so. Yes, I say so a lot. So what? It's a word. It's not like it's meant to be annoying. This is how I talk. So there. And there was another question by Casual Bird. Quick question. I've been having trouble finding the feature. Does Paint 3D have any support for the stylus that goes along with the Surface Pro in terms of pressure changing thickness? Well, if you have a tablet set up, then usually you would go into the brushes and then you would set the thickness settings and tolerance right here. We're going to select our paintbrush tool as an example, and then it shows the thickness right here, and then it shows opacity. So we're going to paint with our brush, and we're going to set the thickness of the brush and the opacity to 100. And if you set the opacity to lower, let's say it's 12%, you can barely see that. It does give you that option. It does give you that option if you're using a stylus. You would have to use the stylus to press on those menus and then set the thickness yourself, and then there you go. And then there were a few other questions. Can you make animations on this? Well, I don't believe you can make animations, but there is an option where you can start recording right here. Take a screenshot, reset view, and view controls. I mean, it's possible to do animations on this. I think you would just need to insert a 3D model, and then there would be some options to use. So let's put in a 3D model for starters. There's our 3D model. And then I believe usually the 3D model would be sized according to your specifications. Like, it just allows you to scroll down and select the model, but there's no option to move the appendages or the facial features. You can just adjust the model in 3D space like this and then rotate it in a certain orientation. And then when you click here, it says take a screenshot, which we'll do. Then we'll save that. But for recording, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I would probably have to look into that, but I don't believe this does animations. Blender would be a program to use. And another question was, can you adjust the thickness of the 3D text? Let's just create some text and then we'll see. So let's just make some text. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to adjust the text here, like 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever. And then, actually, oh, you said 3D text, never mind. So let's make 3D text. So we're going to click inside here and put in our 3D text. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then before we press, we're going to select our font. Let's select my favorite, Road Rage. We're going to select the font. And then Road Rage. And then you would select the size of the font to 130. Adjusting the thickness of the text, it would be once we're done the settings. So let's say we click out here. And then we're going to wait until the text is adjusted. There we go. Here would be a select option, grouping option, edit option, and then flipping, and then adjusting the color. So there is no thickness setting from what I see here, unless you want to expand it like that. Oh, there you go. So what you do to adjust the thickness is you expand up and down. You have to adjust the 3D space, and then you can adjust the thickness of the text. And then you turn it the other way to check if the thickness is right. So that thickness looks good. And then you can adjust the sliders with the thickness that you want. So it's pretty thick. That's what she said. So there you go. That's how you adjust the thickness of 3D text. And you can adjust that. Next question was from Rudy Carrion. Can I make emojis? Well, you can make emojis. You just have to know what kind of emojis you want to make. So let's go and put in a 2D shape. We're going to put in an emoji, and we're going to make a big circle here. And we're going to, you can make it 3D as well, but you don't have to. And we're going to do that. And we're going to use yellow as the emoji. So to make your emoji, you'd have to get stickers. So you'd use the stickers, And then what you do is you put your eye on like this. So you technically can make your own emojis. You just have to know what kind of emoji that you want to make. And then we can copy the eye and paste it on. Paste another copy. Okay, that's the wrong object. Apparently I didn't copy that one. So from here, okay, so it's the same process as making other objects. So we're going to paste our object here, minimize it here, and then we're going to make sure that it's right. Check mark. One eye is bigger than the other. That's okay. And then you can put your mouth sticker on like this. So technically you are making an emoji. So this is your own custom emoji. And then there's the clone stamps. So you can make a stamp and make it your own. So there we go. So there we go. So you can make emojis. It just has to be whatever you imagine it to be. And then another question, remix and export file option isn't available in my software. Where to find it? So if you're using Paint 3D, the export option is right here. Export file, and then it gives you the options to export. So if you're not sure where it is, just click the menu folder, and then it'll just take you there. Then the next question from Dino Bindles, when I export my model and upload it to Mixamo to animate it with the stickers disappear. Do you know what I can do to keep the stickers on my model? Well, if you want to keep the stickers on your model, just make sure that you save the model and export it into a format for your software, and then it should work. And then we already answered the question. So the other question is, until now, while I was working on an animated movie using Bakes' software, I used MS Paint and Movie Maker. I was then struggling with drawing the backgrounds until I thought of using Paint 3D for the background. That knocked out a whole lot of problems, and now the amount of perspective will increase. So that was a good one there. And then there was a lot of thank yous. And if you're new to this, I noticed on your font tab you have a wide range to select from, but my Paint 3D does not have the amount you have. What I basically answered was go to dafont.com and you can download fonts there. And then there's like Happy New Year's, and then most of these comments here were just questions, and I'm just making sure I answer them. And then one was little advice, stay close to the mic, your audio is in and out. Well, thankfully I have a mic arm that allows me to keep my mouth close to the microphone so I don't have any problems. Thank you for pointing out that. I appreciate it. And we're going to just adjust this here so that it doesn't keep falling. All right. There, it's tight enough. There, won't go anywhere. The next few questions, they're not really any questions. How to free select in 3D Paint. Unfortunately, you can't free select. There's no layers here. There's no objects. You can free select 3D objects like the 3D text and the 3D shapes and the 3D models. So let's say there's our 3D model. You can free select those, but you can't free select 2D objects, unfortunately. I'm very sorry, but you can't do that. And then there was another one, how to send file from Paint 3D to Messenger. Well, you would save the file as a JPEG to send to Messenger. And then that's it. And I'm going to answer one more question. And these are the comments. And the last question I'm going to be answering is from Samantha Ledbetter. And she says, I'm looking how to put an image from my files onto a picture. Anyone know an app? An image from your files onto a picture. Well, I guess the image from your files, you would definitely put it into Paint. So if it was saved as a JPEG, you can then set it to Paint or Paint 3D. And to do that, you would go Menu and then Insert, and then it'll tell you all the file types. So it gives you from GIB to PNG. If your picture was a PNG, then you could do that. And that about wraps it up. Most of these comments that I got were thanks and how to save an object as an animation, which you can't do. Toolbar on the right disappeared. How do I bring it back? What you do is you select the tools and then they normally appear. And then you go to Menu and then it's in the settings. You can use Compact View to reduce the size of the sidebar. So if you turn off Compact View, then you got all the tools right here. Yeah, because compact view hides the toolbox, but if you turn it off, then you can see all the tools in full without having to worry about clicking on things. And then when you have it select like this, you can resize the canvas however you want. So you can go from percent to pixels. So you can adjust the width 1280 by 720. So turning compact view off can allow you to change the canvas to however you want. That's amazing. And then when we go into settings and then you turn compact view on, then you can't see that. But then again, yes, you can. It just makes it bigger so that you can adjust it. Then we're going to lock our aspect ratio. Then we're going to zoom everything in. And that's that. So I've just answered a few questions right there. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thank you for the answers to the questions. I answered the questions that were the most legible, because the other questions that were on there were not really questions. They were just more insults, and a lot of the comments were just like, stop saying so all the time. So what? It's not your video. Why do you have to critique on how I talk? It's like telling a mouse to stop eating cheese. Screw you. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope this was informative, and I hope I answered your questions. And if you should have any other questions about Paint, go to watch my video. It tells you all the basic features, and you can also watch this video to see if your question has been answered. So thank you so much. Get fueled for life, and remember, domination is near. We shall see you soon, everybody. You take care now.